Well, I can think of one word to describe what we witnessed in that fourth quarter tonight, and that word would be clockwork. Because like clockwork, the Heat once again entered the fourth quarter with a double-digit lead and once again scored under double-digit points in the fourth period. That's their third time this year scoring less than 10 points in the fourth quarter. That must have to be a record. I don't know. Truthfully, the Heat's fourth quarters this entire season, particularly of late, it really deserves its own deep dive from me, because just watching these games, what it appears to look like is that these guys simply forgot how to play basketball. They forgot how to shoot. They forgot how to make the easy pass. They forgot how to dribble. And that's the only way that I can truthfully describe it. But it does need a further explanation. And also, I need to look into some more numbers, because this offense in the fourth quarter feels historically bad. You had a 7-point fourth quarter earlier in the season when you blew a 22-point fourth quarter lead to the Magic. Just 2 games ago, you scored 9 fourth quarter points versus the stinky Nets, in which you blew a double-digit fourth quarter lead. And then today, you once again went into the fourth quarter up double digits, and you only scored 8 points. And yes, shout out to OKC. I have to credit them. That team is awesome, and their defense completely flipped the switch in the fourth quarter, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is the MVP frontrunner for a reason. But I can't just say, hey, this was all OKC playing great defense like they usually do, because the Heat just scored 9 points versus the Nets 2 games ago, and we know that the Nets suck. So I don't know what to say. It truthfully feels historically bad, and it's insane to think, because you have a team with 2 perennial all-star caliber players. Bam's a 3-time all-star. Tyler Hero was on the all-star team this year. I know he's been in a slump as of late, but I mean, you got Andrew Wiggins. Like, you got decent pieces. I'm not saying this Heat team is good by any stretch of the imagination. They are the definition of mid. They are mediocre. I have been saying that, especially since after the trade a week ago. They're a mediocre team, like they have been. They've been a playing team the last couple of seasons. But they should not be historically bad. I know Eric Spoelstra's been getting a lot of the blame, rightfully so. He's in the midst of just an awful season. My Twitter mentions are blowing up about it. Yesterday, I posted a Terry Rozier breakdown. The title of the video was literally, every time Terry Rozier checks in, he ruins the Miami Heat. And for a while, I was looking good today, because the Heat were off to such a great start. They got up as early as 20 points, and they were still up 10 going into the fourth quarter. And Terry Rozier didn't play today. He had a stomach illness, him and Duncan Robinson. So clearly there's some sort of stomach bug going around the locker room, right? And I'm thinking, see, this is what happens when Terry Rozier doesn't play. But the real test I knew was going to be the start of that fourth quarter, because a lot of these Heat leads have been starting in the fourth quarter, which Terry usually starts. And I think it's stupid, because he's terrible. And that's when the Heat have blown their leads. Well, today you had no Terry Rozier, so I can't blame him. Now, I also want to clarify, I by no means was making Terry Rozier the scapegoat, saying he was the only problem. That is clearly not the case. Even before tonight, I was saying that, because in my last video, when I was talking about Terry and being critical of him, 99% of the comments agreed with me, but then you had 1% of the comments saying, why am I only blaming Terry? Those people clearly didn't watch the video. I said many times in that video, he's not the scapegoat. He's not the only problem. He's a big part of the problem, but he's not the only problem. When it comes down to it, the main problem is the guy who has the ball in his hands most of the game, your big money guy, your all-star, is Tyler Hero. Now, I love Tyler Hero. Just above the screen on this shelf, I have a Tyler Hero bobblehead that I display proudly. Tyler Hero is an awesome player who, although he's been in a really, really bad slump since he was named an all-star, the timing of that is unfortunate. But other than this, slump over the last few weeks, he's having an awesome season, took a clear jump, and even today versus OKC, he showed a lot of bright spots. So he's a good player. He's a great player. I have to say this, because the Hero stands are passionate, rightfully so. But that being said, it's games like tonight that make it more clear than ever. Tyler Hero can't be the 1A on a championship team. He likely can't be the number 2 either, because as great as he is, when the defense tightened up late in this game, that's when Hero struggled. I mean, I think he had 4 turnovers in the fourth quarter. He could not do anything when Lou Dort was guarding him or anybody else was playing physical defense. And the unfortunate reality is, this is nothing new for Tyler Hero. You can go back to the playoffs a few years ago. DeLon Wright was clamping him up. because DeLon Wright was physical in his face. And that's how playoff defense is. That's part of the reason we've seen Tyler Hero struggle in 90% of his playoff games. It's just because that's when the defense tightens up, just like in these fourth quarters. And we're seeing him continually struggle when the defense gets like that, gets up in his face. And if you are truly an all-star, if you are truly the guy on a potential championship contender one day, you don't shrink in those moments. You don't turn it up. You don't look worthless out there. And Tyler Hero has. That's because I think Tyler Hero is an excellent third option. He just can't be the guy. That's just the truth of the matter. And I don't know what this Heat's plan is going forward, because if they're trying to build around this young core, you don't have the guy. You can't go very far with this core. The Heat were very reluctant to trade a guy like Nikola Jovic for Kevin Durant, one of the greatest scorers of all time. And you have Nikola Jovic out there today playing like dog water in that fourth quarter. Like 3 straight turnovers and then a flying head kick to Andrew Wiggins. Like, I don't know what we're doing. Khalil Ware, they're hesitant to trade him. They don't feature him in the offense at all anymore, you know. And I'm not saying these are young guys. It's not their fault. They might be really great players in this league for a long time. It's just back to the team building part. And I hate to keep bringing this up because it seems like after every game now, we're bringing up problems with the front office. And that's not what these post-game videos are supposed to be about. But it feels like the Heat front office is so much undervaluing their own talent. And it's not just a one-game sample size. It's a huge sample size. Scoring under 10 points in a fourth quarter is historically bad. Once. They've done it 3 times. If you had anyone on the roster that was capable of being the guy, that would not happen at all, let alone 3 times. And then they make this trade for Andrew Wiggins because they think it's going to help them win now, because theoretically the fit is good. 18-point per game scorer, good defender, making 3 years left on his contract at $30 million. And I'm sitting there after the trade and I'm telling y'all, I said, I don't like this trade because Andrew Wiggins is long-term money and it takes the team from mid to mid. He's not a needle mover. But it's unfortunate because the Heat front office doesn't believe in that. So now you got Andrew Wiggins on this team. He's not the guy that they thought they were. He's the guy that I thought they were. Yeah, Andrew Wiggins is great in Golden State when he's playing a role next to Steph Curry. This Heat team doesn't have a Steph Curry. They're asking Andrew Wiggins to be the guy, and he's not that. We saw Andrew Wiggins try to be the guy in Minnesota. He was averaging 20 points per game. Those teams sucked until Jimmy Butler got there. They never sniffed the playoffs until Jimmy Butler got there. The Golden State Warriors, that's when Wiggins really revitalized his career, is playing a role. And now you bring him into this team where they don't have a star. You're seeing him try to either be the star or play in the role, and it's just not working. And now you're paying him $30 million for 3 years. It's tough. It's such a tough situation they put themselves in. The last time I want to bring up KD, hopefully for a while, because you had Brian Windhorst come out today and say he's likely to get traded in the summer. If you're the Heat, you got to trade all the young guys. You know, I'm not saying Tyler, I'm not saying Bam. Those can be your complementary pieces. But if the Suns are asking for picks, Jovic wearing Bam, or no, not Bam. If the Suns are asking for picks, Jovic wearing Jaime, you got to do it. And the Heat were hesitant to send that. That we know that was the package. It was revealed. The young kids in the picks. And obviously Jimmy Butler would have been the salary filler. And you look at these guys, and it's like, Jaime Jaquez didn't even play tonight. He was back from the stomach illness. Didn't even play tonight at all. Didn't log a single minute. Nikola Jovic shooting 30% from the line. Completely out of control. Lost on defense. And Khalil Ware, he will be a solid big in this league for a long time. But he's not a piece that should prevent you from trading for Kevin Durant. It's not. Because all we hear is, oh, this Heat team has pieces, so when you get the star, they can fit right in and you have a contender. Well, how are you going to get the star if you don't trade your young pieces? Because you don't have the picks. You don't have a lot of draft capital. You don't have the salary cap to sign one of these guys outright. That was sent out the window when you brought in Andrew Wiggins' big money. So what are you going to do? What are you going to do? If you would have had a guy like if you would have traded for Brandon Ingram like I suggested, get his $30 million expiring contract, that money's coming off the books this summer. You could have did a sign and trade for Kevin Durant, bring him right into your cap space. Or no, Kevin Durant's already under contract, but you still could have traded for him into this team and filled him into empty cap space here. If you would have traded for Chris Middleton or Bobby Portis, who has a year left, and Andrew Wiggins, you could have made things work. But no, the Heat decided to bring in Wiggins, who was terrible. It's only his second game. I understand. Give these guys time. But, like, how much time do you need? All these other guys in their new places are out there balling out. And we got Andrew Wiggins shooting 30% for the second game in a row. Just guys who are not making an impact at all. I've talked for 10 minutes. I didn't even get into the game at all. I had all kind of notes too. You had no Chet Holmgren either. No Chet for OKC. That team is dominant. I don't want to take away credit from them. But the Heat didn't have Terry. They didn't have Duncan. There was no Chet on OKC's side. Shout out to Bam Adebayo. He continues his hot stretch. Very hot start to this game. Hit a corner three. Tyler Hero hit him with a nasty dime. Dunked it. Bam was taking Hartenstein off the dribble with the little Jimmy shimmy. I've been asking for Bam to do that on the slower centers. Today, he did it on Hartenstein, who's he can move those puppies a little bit. So I like to see Bam aggressive attacking him. Davion, I thought, was pretty good defensively in the first quarter. Unfortunately, Shai Gilgeous is just a complete flopper. I just saw the Jimmy High Roller video trying to explain how Shai is an ethical hooper. No, he's not. That guy flops and flails all over the place. Superstar. Don't get me wrong, MVP. But my God, does he get a good whistle. Nikola Jovic, as bad as he was today, he got hammered 4 or 5 times that did not get called. But the Heat defense in general was good early on. It was nice. You had Davion with like a steal. Wiggins hit Davion and like a nice outlet pass. So it was nice to see the new guys working together. And then OKC, they went very small. They had a 6'7" Kendrick Williams and then as at center, and immediately the Heat threw a lob to Ware, who was fouled. So I liked seeing the Heat take advantage of their size. There's so much good stuff as I'm reading throughout the game. It just all disappeared. I mean, the first sub you had was Alec Burks, even Haywood Highsmith, got some early minutes after not playing last game. You had Nikola Jovic, also aggressive. He was attacking the smaller OKC team. You were up 12 at the end of one. Wiggins looked okay. He had a nice stretch to start the second. They drew up an after timeout play for him. He hit the jumper. Then he had a nice aggressive drive and floater. Really dropped his shoulder into the paint. And then he was calling for the post up on Shai. He was being aggressive. Then the defense kind of collapsed on Wiggins in the post. Then Wiggins hit Davion Mitchell, top of the key for 3. And then next possession, Davion Mitchell was fighting through the screens, drew an offensive foul on the moving screen by Dort, I believe. And Shai did have a buzzer beater 3 at the end of the half, but Heat were still up 11. And then even at the end of 3, Heat were still up 10. So after a great first half, the Heat only got outscored by 1 in the third. They didn't have no third quarter, which I expected. I mean, J-Dub went off in that third. He had 14 points. Yeah, but the Heat were matching them. You had Bam hit a 3, Burks hit a 3, Hero hit a 3, Jovic hit 2 threes after coming off to a very poor start. The Heat were weathering the storm. They looked like a team that came to play. Davion Mitchell started the third quarter with a nice coast-to-coast layup, flexing on the OKC Thunder. They caught a tech on him for that, but then the Thunder missed the tech free throw, and I like that John Crotty hit him with the ball don't lie. That's tough. But they were looking good, and then in the fourth quarter, you blink your eyes, the Heat gave up a 24-0 run to start the fourth quarter. 24-0. These are historically bad numbers for a team that on paper has some good pieces. This is how the fourth quarter started. A Lou Dort 3, a Hero turnover, a Shai 3, a Jovic turnover. Then Jovic did a flying head kick into Isaiah Joe that they reviewed for a flagrant. Luckily, they didn't say it was a flagrant because Joe kind of ran into Jovic, I guess. But then Shai had a wide open dunk, completely uncontested. He went back door on Highsmith. Then Hero had another turnover. That led to a Dort layup. And then Burks missed, and then Shai hit another 3. So they forget how to play basketball. Tyler Hero, in this first couple minutes alone, turning the ball over left and right. That was the 24-0 run for OKC. Bam ended up hitting a 3, but then the Heat only scored another 5 points, I guess, after that Bam 3. The Heat literally didn't score for the first 6 minutes of that fourth quarter. This is an everyday type of thing. I don't understand. I mean, the good news is if y'all want to make some money, just take the other team's lines going into the fourth quarter. My boy Frankie texted me. Shout out. Y'all know my barber that be getting me right. I haven't gone to him in a minute. I need to go back. But he texted me. He's like, yo, should I take OKC money line? I was like, take OKC money line, like to start the fourth when the Heat are still up double digits. I said, take OKC money line. I said, take them in the fourth quarter. Take them everything. Now, I didn't do it because I didn't want to root for that. But it's free money. Like, that's the only positive. That's seriously the only positive that I could think when I sit here and talk to you. Spo deserves his own video. I'm sure there's probably a bunch of people watching this telling me or wondering why I'm not criticizing Spo. He deserves criticism. I mean, in that 24-0 run to start the third or fourth quarter, Spo's usage of timeouts was terrible. He literally waited. You could tell all the momentum was going OKC's side, and Spo let it go another 4 or 5 possessions longer than it should have. He waited for OKC to take the lead before calling timeout. He did. Why? As soon as Dort hit a three, you turned it over, then Shea hit a three. Call timeouts. You're still up 4. Draw up an after timeout play to try to get a bucket, to go back up 8 or 9. But no, he's just sitting on his hands. I don't understand it, but suppose he deserves his own video. He does. And I need to do some more research to pinpoint a few things because my biggest gripe with him was the Terry minutes. Terry didn't play today. So we'll look at the box score real quick. Oh, God, I don't even want to. Wiggins, 4 of 12, 33%, 13 points. There was people on other networks giving this trade a B. And if the pick is 11 or 14, I give it an A. And they say they're not sunshine pumpers. What are you watching prior to this trade to give it a B+ to an A? What are you watching? Wiggins is not an offensive scorer. This team can't score. This team was scoring in the 80s before these guys got here. And you decided to lean into defense in a league that's all about scoring? The Heat went into this trade deadline saying, let's lean into defense. You can't score. How are you supposed to beat teams if you can't score? It's 2025. We're scoring under 90 points regularly. But they trade for guys to lean into defense. I don't get it. Bam and Adebayo, monster game, though. 27-15, 11-19. If Bam is playing like that, very few teams could beat us. Very, very few teams, as long as they don't score 8 points in the fourth quarter. Because most of that run was before Bam even checked back in. But yeah, Bam was awesome today. He continues playing well. Khalil Ware, 7-6, only took 3 shots. A team that had Kenrich Williams playing center at the same time as Khalil Ware for several minutes. Ware took 3 shots. Why you're not spamming pick and roll again and again and again when Kenrich Williams, who's 6'7" in that center, why don't you spam the pick and roll every time? I don't know. Just awful offense. Tyler Hero today, 14 points, 6 assists, 5 of 12 shooting. Plays a good defense, plays terrible. That's kind of been the thing with Tyler Hero. I keep wanting to say Donovan Mitchell. Davion Mitchell, 14 points, 6 of 10. He even hit 2 threes today, 2 of 5. So he was pretty good today. He was good. I'll give him that. Nikola Jovic, rough one tonight, 4 of 12. Burks, 11 points, 9 rebounds, 3 of 8. Yeah, that was not pretty. Somehow I'm looking at the plus minus because in my Terry video yesterday, I posted out Burks has the best plus minus on the team, and Hame and Terry have by far the worst plus minus. And today, actually, Nikola Jovic was a plus 3. So shout out to him. He did not shoot well, but he did kind of help spark them in that third quarter. But I like Jovic. Like I'm saying, these guys are young. They'll get better. They got to go through the trials and tribulations. My point is, they're not future stars. They're not. Hayward Highsmith, he ended up playing 14 minutes, and Pella got just 7 minutes, but neither of those guys really did anything. So, yeah, tough one for the Miami Heat. Shea, we'll say his numbers, 32 points, 9 assists, 5 rebounds. Those are probably his averages. He is freaking awesome. But anyways, I've been talking for 18 minutes. There's no point in going on any longer. Make sure y'all comment your thoughts down below. Comment what you think has been Spo's biggest flaw this year. Maybe I'll kind of use your comments as a basis for my Spo criticism video. So let me know down below. Make sure to like the video and subscribe because I'm on a grind to hit 7K subs. The Heat do run it back tomorrow versus Dallas Mavericks, and that'll be their last game before the All-Star break. So hopefully we can get a dub and get us back to, I guess, 1 game under 500, right? Does this put us 2 games under now? Let me check the standings real quick. Because they're 2 games under 500 now. Shoot. I'll see you on the next one. Peace out, everyone.
Look, pull up in your city, tryna get that dead face. Do it on my own, I don't need no dead weight. Had to kill him off, yeah, I need a head space. You know this homegrown bitch don't offend me.